and we do it by investing in the working men and women. And I know that in my heart because I lived it. I see myself in every one of you. So let's take back New Jersey. Let's take back the reins. This is our state. This state belongs to the working men and women and not the millionaires. And so with your help, talk to your friends and your neighbors and you say, you know, Buono and Silva, they get us. They understand what it's like to be a member of the middle class, and they're there for us. And if you stand with us, and if we work together, and if you believe, and I know you do, in a New Jersey where equality of opportunity isn't a privilege reserved for the few, but a right afforded to everyone, then we will win this November and restore hope and opportunity to this great state of New Jersey. Thank you all for having me.
Have any?
Yeah, see, you weren't telling me to tell.
This has to do with what the proposal that TCU campus saying. My question is, for all of the cuts that he wants to make with our union, where is that money going to be redirected? If he's successful.
Well, let me just say this. I don't know. I mean, if he want
Kind was to her too.
Once
She could
can
probably
ask her
answer it,
questions first, then we're gonna get back into our.
I asked because I got to leave.
Just give us a couple minutes. Anybody have a question for us?
My question for you is, being in Baltimore recently, in the last 2 years, the public school went to charter school. Are you going to change that?
Absolutely. This governor, he's given up on the public schools. We have some of the best public schools in the nation. Yeah, but we have some that are failing. So you don't give up on them. Charter schools were never meant to replace public schools. They were meant to have, try some things out, see if it worked in the charter school, and then you put it into effect in the traditional public school.
My mom worked for the public school. She actually left because of the cuts and everything that was brought to the public school districts.
Yeah, no, I think it's a mistake. This governor's given up on the public schools. We have great examples of models of success that we can build on. And we know what works to close out the opportunity gap with kids at universal preschool. We know it's not Buono, it's the experts that say you start kids, it makes sense, it's as mothers, it's common sense. You start the kids early, they're going to learn to read by the time they're in first grade. And I had a law, the School Funding Reform Act. I was the only senator to sponsor it. Everybody was a little afraid, it was a little different. We ended up, it was a fair way to distribute school funding, to make sure it reached every kid that needed it, no matter where they live. And a big part of it was funding universal preschool. You know what this governor called it? Glorified babysitting. Glorified, what is his nanny? He's got his nanny taking care of his kids. I mean, how out of touch could you be?
I actually have to pay for preschool now because where I live at,
there's nothing more important. That is the best investment we can make in our children's future. Just so you know a little bit more, real quick. I was the first woman I'm a lawyer by trade. Got 6 kids. They're all grown now. I haven't been practicing law for a while. I've been in the Senate 12 years, the Assembly before that 7 years. I was on the council in the town I live in for 2 years. But as the first woman majority, I was the first woman budget chair in the Senate from 2008 to 2009 during the global meltdown. And just so happened. And we had a cut. We cut $4.5 billion because the revenues were falling through the floor. Remember? I mean, we want to forget, but. And I was able to figure out a way, we prioritized, and we didn't cut funding for public education, and we didn't cut funding for health care. Because a budget is about priorities, and this governor's priorities is for the wealthy and the millionaires, and my priorities are for the middle class and the working men and women of New Jersey. I don't think millionaires need any help. They don't need a tax cut, but we need help, and so that's where my priorities lie, and I know what I'm talking about because I've been in there. Then, as majority leader, real quick, you got to know my union credentials, and then I'll shut up. I was the first woman majority leader, number 2 person in the Senate. Do you remember there was a whole thing about the pension reform? and eliminating collective bargaining for health benefits. I stood up on the front steps of the State House and railed against it. I stood up on the floor of the Senate and voted and spoke against the bill because I said you can't do away with collective bargaining. And you know what? That's who we are in New Jersey. We stand up for the working man, whether you're a public union or a private union. And this governor has tried to drive a wedge through the unions, and you know that. I voted against it, and I lost my majority leader position. I was stripped of it. I knew that would happen. I know that's live by the sword, you die by the sword. But I knew that would happen. So just so you know, I've got political courage. I stand up for what I believe in, even when it may not be the most politically advantageous thing to do. So that's what you get with Buono. I don't know why I'm this way. Maybe because I was on my own since I was 19 and nobody handed me this job. That's why I guess you saw me read the Star Ledger to anybody. You saw what I said about.
Yes.
Okay.
They got offended by that.
Oh well, whatever. Anyway, Sarah, I'm sorry.
Okay, we know that Governor Christie cuts a lot of stuff from the railroad workers, but I want to know where do you stand when it comes to giving funding for the railroad workers and for the railroad itself?
I think we need to. That's one of the major problems we've had in the state with the infrastructure, and the railroad is part of our infrastructure, as you well know. This governor, when he first was elected, he said, this is one of our advantages, being in New Jersey. We have a great location, right? We're right near New York, right near the ports, but we need to upgrade our rail system. You know, it's antiquated. There's always breakdowns. It's not your fault. The infrastructure needs upgrading. This governor promised he would fund the transportation trust fund, and as you know, some of that money goes to the rails, and he didn't. He stole it. He decided to back out of it. He pulled the plug on the arsenal going into New York City. Honestly, I lose sleep over that. I really do. That was and it was only to cater to the National Republican Party. You know, the Republican right, they're against these big infrastructure programs because it's big government. That was, I got to tell you, I lose sleep over it. That would have brought so many jobs to New Jersey. It's estimated 40,000 permanent jobs. That's not even the construction jobs that would have gone along with it. It would have increased property values on this side of the river. It would have really moved people back and forth between New York and the city. I believe that we have to invest in our infrastructure, and mass transit is an integral part of it. I think we need to get more cars off the road and more people on rails.
And one other question I had was that it takes 3 years to settle a contract. Will you continue, like Christie do, to let these contracts go on for another 3 years?
Absolutely not. I feel it's terrible. And I'm not going to tell you some of the towns that have come to me, some of the municipalities where they've had.
I know, he's like a pro at it.
As governor, I would exercise my leadership and try and weigh in and make sure that these people, how can you live that way? That kind of insecurity, that kind of uncertainty has to weigh heavily on you and your families. It's just not right. And as governor, I would make sure that didn't happen. I put the full weight of my office behind it. Oh, God, I shouldn't have said weight. Sorry. I'm talking about myself. Oh, my God. You have to, parse your words here. All right. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Yes.
I have a question, ma'am. What is your typically called a Jersey first Jersey law, where your state or public work in New Jersey, you have to live within the state?
You have to what?
Live within the state, unless your job title is in New York or Pennsylvania or elsewhere. What is your opinion on that?
We passed legislation. Is that what you're talking about? The state of New York, I voted against it. So, yeah. The residency requirement you're
Yes,
talking
yes,
about.
yes.
No, I think it was a bad bill, and I voted against it.
I want to thank Senator Buono for coming out back home
Yeah.
to